Good old St. Martin. The planes are loud and we're trying to make through here on Action Island. I brought my sunscreen, brought my classic t-shirt, but listen, it's time to concoct a same game parlay for this NFC South matchup between the Bucs and the Falcons. Can the Falcons win their divisional matchup and take over the #1 seed in the NFC South? Well, that question and much more will be answered by my panelists that I'm bringing on to the island. They already booked their trips. Yep, that's right. It's Nick Giffen, Gilles Gallant, Sean Koerner. The four of us are going to make a same-game parlay for this Thursday night matchup, help you get through what could be a little bit of an ugly game in general. Guys, if you're new to Action Island, here's how it'll work. Each of our three panelists, that's Nick, Gilles, and Sean, are going to give us a pair of props. So we're going to vote one in, vote one off between the three of us. We're a little bit of democratic here with how we're making this SGP, but of course, there are 6 legs that you can pick and choose just how you so please. We're going to start with Mr. Nick Giffen. Nick, I mentioned earlier you have another official prop that you were saving for Action Island, so give that one out and then the other pick as well.
Yeah, so we'll go with that official pick, and I'm going to take Bijan Robinson under 3.5 receptions. You can get that at plus 120 now. And look, I know he's gone over this number in 3 of 4, but he is dealing with a hamstring issue, which limited his snaps last week to just 64% of all snaps, which was down from over the 80s in weeks 1 through 3. And also, with Tampa Bay blitzing more, he may be needed to, a little bit more for pass protection as Tampa Bay is bringing extra men. Also, just the fact that Tyler Algier is a better pass blocker. PFF has him graded Algier as a better pass blocker both last year and this year than Bijan. So even on some of those passing downs, we could see a little bit more Algier than normal. So all of that combined, I like Bijan under 3.5 receptions. For my second pick for Action Island here, I'm going to go with the first half under 21.5 total points. Look, I know Sean was on the under for the full game, but I like the first half just as much. These teams average 4 seconds per play slower in the first half in neutral situations than they do in neutral situations in the second half. And if either team is leading in the second half by more than a score, or by 7 or more, then it's still at least 3 seconds per play slower in the first half than in the second half. So the under seems even more favorable in the first half than the second half.
So there you have it, the 2 picks that Nick is giving out. The official of Bijan under 3.5, which makes sense. Algier, season high, 2 receptions last week, starting to play a little bit of a role. Bijan nursing that hamstring injury. How healthy is he going to be? I know he was cleared off the injury report and is reported a full go, but, and then the first half under, Nick, it's really interesting. Atlanta in general likes to run the football. They haven't been able to fully take advantage of that at times based on game script, but early on you'd figure that they are able to kind of pound the rock and get more running plays to take the clock off a bit. All right, Gilles, Sean, we got 2 picks to decide between Bijan under or the first half under. Let's get to voting. All right, Bijan under or the first half under. Gilles, Sean, let's show them in 3, 2, 1. First half under, Bijan. First half under takes the cake 2-1. I just think, Nick's point about the game script and how neutral, they're a little bit slower in the first half really got me over the edge in this one. Plus, Bijan, maybe he might not see as many rushes because of the hamstring injury. I feel like they may still maybe use him in the pass game into open space with that Tampa Bay heavy blitz package. But Gilles, I want to know, you were the one that went against me and Sean on the first half under. What were your thoughts around picking Bijan over that first half under?
I mean, I'm just in on any bet that's a fade of Bijan Robinson in this offense because we have now seen him in 21 regular season games, 2 different head coaches, and nobody seems to know what to do with him. Like they don't really, the game that you bank on him to score a touchdown, he'll get 5 carries. The game that you bank on him to have 4 receptions, he gets 1 target. It's just, there's too much inconsistency with him that I think, especially when we're getting it at plus money, I love that bet.
Yeah, he's definitely been, it's definitely been angry if you're a Bijan Robinson fantasy owner this or last season. And I can't even imagine how people who then own Kyle Pitts also feel, because his face is on a milk carton as well, because no one knows what the heck he is doing. But Gilles, I went to you. You're up next for this one. Your 2 anytime touchdown picks for this matchup.
For sure. So I think on the Atlanta side, we have to take a Drake London at plus 175 because I still think the touchdown market, as far as odds go, just haven't come around on him. Now, obviously, he didn't score last week because no Falcons offensive player scored last week, but he's got 2 touchdowns in 4 games, 6 red zone targets. That's more than the rest of the Falcons players combined. And, the Bucs secondary, I think they've gotten a bit lucky in some of their matchups so far this year. When they faced the Eagles, they were missing their top 2 wide receivers. Bo Nix, he could barely complete a pass. Jaden Daniels in week 1, he wasn't really Jaden Daniels yet. So I think Kirk Cousins, especially with the interception prop that we like, I think he's going to try to throw a little bit more and test that Bucs secondary. I think London will get a touchdown. So that's the Falcons side. But on the Bucs side, I love Cade Otton to get a touchdown. 17 targets over the last 2 games. He's playing over 90% of snaps. He's seen at least 1 red zone target in each of the last 3 games. And the Falcons, they play a ton of zone, top 6 rate, and they don't really give up a ton of big receptions. Only 4 completions of 20 yards or more. That's the fewest amount in the NFL. So I think Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, they're going to get theirs. But with Trey Palmer, Jalen McMillan out, I think Otton is going to see a usage bump as a result. So I love him to score a touchdown in this matchup. So Cade Otton and Drake London are the 2 touchdown picks.
Yeah, Drake London's starting to see a ton of usage, a ton of targets, at least down the stretch here. And 2 touchdowns in the last 3 games. Hopefully he can keep it up. And then Cade Otton, you mentioned it, just he's getting the red zone targets. He just hasn't found the end zone at this price. It still feels like he's a bit cheap. So Nick, Sean, we have to get to voting. Do we ride with the Falcon London or do we ride with the Buccaneer Otton? Let's get to voting. All right, let's show between London and Otton. Nick, Sean, 3, 2, 1. Cotton, Drake, London. Oh, I see you guys finished each other's sandwiches, I was going to say. I tried to draw like toilet paper. I wish I voted for London because I would have drawn Big Ben or something like that, but I wasn't too creative with the cotton hole thing. Listen, I wanted to juice the odds. You know how I am. I like the overs. I like the high priced. I think Otton is still cheap in this one. So that's why I went with him. Sean, I'll ask you, why did you end up with London over Cade Otton?
Yeah, I've always been a big Drake London believer. My comp for him entering the league was like a smooth blend between Mike Evans and Keenan Allen. So he'll be going up against Mike Evans tonight. And I just think we're in the middle of a year 3 breakout with him. And we know that Cousins is going to get blitzed heavily tonight. And London's been his clear top target when facing a blitz. So I think London's going to have a big game tonight.
Yeah, it feels like London is going to get a lot of targets. Hopefully he can find the end zone because that is our second leg of the SGP. We got the first half under and then an anytime touchdown. Juicing the odds a little bit there with Drake London close to 2-1. All right, Sean, kicking it right back to you. You got 2 props for us to vote between. What are they?
Yeah, so I'm going with the full game under, 43.5, which I gave at the top of the hour. This is my official play for my Thursday night football preview. But, Kirk Cousins just really been living in the pocket this season post his 2023 Achilles tear. And I think, Todd Bowles, who already loves the blitz, is just going to take advantage of this and send the blitz even more because Cousins has really struggled when facing the blitz this year, likely due to his immobility following that, pretty devastating injury. And he's going to be without his starting center, Drew Dahlman, who's on IR still. So it's going to be a tough matchup for him. And on the other side, the Buccaneers offense has been humming. Baker Mayfield has looked great, but this is still a pretty conservative passing attack where new offensive coordinator Liam Cohen's having to get rid of it at the fastest rate of his career. He's not throwing it downfield much. So even these longer drives kill a ton of clock. And I already mentioned Ron Torbert will be the ref for this game. Most profitable ref since 2020. 62% of his games have stayed under. So a lot of signals for the under here. But I'll be nice, and I found an over that I do like in this game. Yeah. So it's Tyler Algier over 35.5 rushing yards. The Falcons have played with the lead at the sixth lowest rate this season, and they've actually had the second lowest time of possession overall. So in a game where, they're 2.5-point home favorites. So if the spread is accurate, they might actually play with the lead at some point, which could lead to more rush attempts overall. But specifically for Algier, because Bijan Robinson's been dealing with his hamstring injury for about a week now. So on the short week, we could see Algier, cut into his workload even more here. And Algier runs outside of the tackles at the fourth highest rate in the league. That's actually the type of run that this Tampa Bay defense has really struggled against. They're allowing 3.5 yards before contact on outside runs, which is by far the highest rate in the league. So this is a great spot for Algier to clear 35.5 rushing yards.
Do we go and double dip with the under, or do we get an over? Sean, it must really be vacation for me because you gave me an over. The sun is shining here on the island. I get an over to likely choose from. I think we know where I'm going to go with my voting. But, Nick, Gilles, we still have to get to voting because it's a democracy and it's a best out of three. So let's get there right now. All right, Tyler Algier, over or the full game under? Let's show him in 3, 2, 1. We all know where I was going. Algier, under. Nice. Algier, no breaks. There we go. All right. Nick ended up with the under. Kind of goes hand in hand with his first half under. Me and Gilles, true Bijan hater fashion, going with the over for Algier, fading a bit of Bijan Robinson. It kind of makes sense. So there's the three legs of the SGP. A quick recap of what those three legs are. We got Nick Giffen giving out the first half under of 21.5. Drake London, an anytime touchdown. That's courtesy of our anytime touchdown guru, Gilles Gallant. And then Sean Koerner with a nice prime time over on Tyler Algier in the rushing yards. You put those three together, you get plus 900 over on DraftKings. Nick, I'll kick it to you. How are you feeling about this SGP?
Yeah, well, real quick, the under's moved up 0.5 point to 44 now. So, even better odds there if you're taking the under. So, I like the full game under. It gives more opportunity for the under to hit rather than just the first half. So, while I do like my first half one, which is part of the SGP, I like the full game under. That's why I went with that one. So, just a little quick aside on that. But feeling good about this one. To Gilles' point about Tampa Bay getting lucky, he didn't even mention the luck. He mentioned the other three games they played, but he didn't mention the luck they had against Detroit, where Detroit only scored 1 touchdown in the red zone in like 7 opportunities. And if Drake London's getting all that red zone looks, you got to think that's going to regress and give Drake London a good chance at a touchdown on this one.
Yeah, so that you put those three together, you get 9-1. I feel like this is this one feels right. We get a Charlie Disturco-esque over. We get a touchdown from someone that's going to get a lot of production, and then of course we give you guys your unders. So you guys can book your tickets back to good old LA and Las Vegas and Canada. I don't know why I wanted to list out where you guys are all from, but anyway, Nick Giffen, Gilles Gallant, Sean Koerner, appreciate you guys hopping on, and best of luck tonight, my friends. And just a final reminder of that SGP, Nick Giffen giving out the first half total under 21.5. He also gave out Bijan, but that did not make the cut. And then Gilles Gallant with the Drake London anytime touchdown. That was voted in over Cade Otton. And then Sean Koerner's to the full game under. And Tyler Algier's over on rushing yards. Of course, you can mix and match as you choose, but our SGP over on Action Island, Green Dot Daily, is plus 900 over on DK.